Hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking about the meaning of ratios, and we're going to be talking about the two different types of ratios. There are part-to-part ratios and there are part-to-whole ratios. We're going to talk about part-to-part ratios first. In part-to-part ratios, order does matter, so the order that they are listed in makes a difference when you are writing them and when you are using them. So this first box here shows an example of a part-to-part ratio. It says for every 2 cups of lemon juice, there are 7 cups of water. So my guess is that we're making lemonade in this situation. And so in the recipe, it says for every 2 cups of lemon juice, that would be 1 part of the recipe, there are 7 cups of water, and that's going to be the other part of the recipe. And then you'll notice in this other box over here, it says in ratio notation 2:7 to 2:7 and 2/7. Notice that the 2 comes first because the 2 cups of lemon juice are listed first, and the 7 cups of water are second because the 7 is listed second. So what we're going to do is we're going to read and interpret this information, write ratios, simplify them, and then talk about what they mean. So it says, read the sentence below. Does it tell you to do anything? And if so, what? So in this box right here, I'm going to use yellow for this. It says there are 8 girls and 10 boys in Mrs. Watson's math class. Is that sentence asking us to do anything? This particular sentence is not asking us to do anything. It is purely informational. So I'm going to say no. This is just information. And we're going to call this the informational sentence. Now the next sentence, it says, read the sentence below. Does it tell you to do anything? And if so, what again? And I'm going to use blue for this one. Write the ratio of boys to girls in Mrs. Watson's math class in simplest form. This one is telling us to do something. It's telling us to write a ratio. This is going to be the action sentence. So we're going to have an informational sentence that just gives us the information. Then we're going to have an action sentence that tells us what to do with that information. The action sentence is the one where order matters. So in this particular sentence, it says write the ratio of boys to girls. This matters. The fact that it says boys first and girls second matters. So here on my ratio line, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write it in words. So it says write the ratio of boys to girls. Okay. And because I want to write it in simplest form, I'm going to write it as a fraction. So because it says simplest form here at the end, I definitely want to write my ratio as a fraction like this one up here. And then I can simplify it using the greatest common factor like we've been working on. So it says there are 8 girls and 10 boys in Mrs. Watson's math class. That means that I've got 10 boys on top and 8 girls on the bottom. The action sentence is what tells us the order. The information sentence can give us the information in any order. We just have to represent it correctly in the ratio. So now I'm going to simplify this fraction. So I'm going to use the number 8. So 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. 8 does not go into 10. 4 does not go into 10. 2 does go into 10. So I'm going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So there is my simplified ratio. And now I'm going to explain the meaning. So when I first wrote my ratio, I wrote it as words, so boys to girls. That's going to help me explain the meaning of the ratio that I've just simplified. So it says there are 8 girls and 10 boys in Mrs. Watson's math class, but I want to know the ratio of boys to girls. Well, the ratio of boys to girls is that for every 5 boys, there are 4 girls. Okay, and that comes from this piece of information right here. I'm using my simplified ratio to explain the meaning. Okay. So now we're going to try another one. Number 2 says, Mrs. Nichols has 20 students in her 3rd hour. 12 of them wore PJs yesterday. Write the ratio of students who didn't wear PJs to students that did wear PJs in simplest form. Highlight the information sentence and the action sentence in a different color. So I am going to use yellow for the information sentence, and I'm going to use blue for the action sentence. So in this one, it says, Mrs. Nichols has 20 students in her 3rd hour. That is information, so I'm going to highlight it in yellow. 12 of them wore PJs yesterday. That is still information, so I'm going to highlight it in yellow. Write the ratio of students who didn't wear PJs to the students that wore PJs in simplest form. It's telling me to write a ratio, so that is my action sentence. So I'm going to highlight that one in blue. So now I'm going to write in words my ratio. Write the ratio of students who didn't wear PJs. So I'm going to say did not. To students that wore PJs. So I'm going to use did for that one. Okay, so did, not, and did. In simplest form. Now in this particular problem, they tell me the total number of students. So this is the total. And then they tell me that 12 of them wore PJs. So I've got 20 total students. 12 wore PJs. That means that 8 did not. Because 20 minus 12 is 8. So when I write my ratio down here of the students that did not wear PJs to the students that did, 8 students did not wear them and 12 students did. The 20 just helped me figure out what I was missing. So now I'm going to use the 8 to find my greatest common factor. 1 times 8, 2 times 4. 8 does not go into 12. 4 does go into 12. So I'm going to divide both the top and the bottom by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So this is the ratio that I'm going to use to explain my meaning. So down here I have a line to explain the meaning. So I'm going to say for every 2 students that did not wear PJs, three students did. Okay. So these are part-to-part ratios. The next example, we are going to move into part-to-whole ratios. So this is part-to-part, where we are not using the total number of something. So here we had to find the missing part. Oops. We had to find the missing part right here using subtraction. In the next example, we're going to be using that total number, that whole amount. So now we're going to talk about parts of whole, and order still matters. So this says 2 cups out of the total 9 cups of lemonade are lemon juice. So 2 cups out of the total 9. So this is the part, this is the whole. Okay. So when we look at our ratios over here in ratio notation, this is the part, this is the whole. Okay. So now we're going to look at a couple of examples that ask us to use the part and the whole in this relationship and not a part to a part. So number 3 says there are 8 dogs, 3 cats, and 5 monkeys. That is an information sentence. I am not being told to do anything with it. So I'm going to highlight it in yellow, just like I did on the first slide. Then it says, write the ratio of cats to total animals. That's my action sentence. It's telling me to write the ratio. Just like I did in part to part, I am going to write in words for part to whole. Okay, so when this says write the ratio of cats to total animals, that's going to be my ratio. So I've got cats over total animals. So now in my information sentence, it says that I have 8 dogs, 3 cats, and 5 monkeys. So I've got 3 cats that go on top. And then I have to find the total number of animals. So 8 plus 3 plus 5 is 16. It says to write it in simplest form. So I'm going to look at, can I simplify this fraction? So 3 is 1 times 3, and 3 does not go into 16. So this fraction is in simplest form already. So now I'm going to explain the meaning of this ratio, and part to whole ratios have a slightly different explanation because we're talking about the total amount. So to explain the meaning of this ratio, I'm going to say 3 out of 16 animals are cats. And this is because I'm talking about a part compared to the whole amount. And then I'm saying what that part represents. So 3 out of 16 animals in this group are cats. Okay. Number 4 says, using the table below, write the ratio of students that love soccer to the total number of to the total students in simplest form. So all I'm given is the action sentence, and all of the information is given in the table. So it says, in this example, the information is in the form of the table. Highlight the action sentence, read the action sentence, and highlight the information you need in a different color. So I'm going to erase this yellow highlight really quick. So write the ratio of students that love soccer. So I'm going to have love soccer over total students. Okay, so love soccer comes first, so they go on top. Total students come second, so it goes on the bottom. I need students that love soccer. And then I'm going to put another little highlight down here because I need the total number of students. So I'm going to write total. 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 6 is 21. So there are 8 students that love soccer, and there are 21 total students. And now I'm going to find the greatest common factor. So 8 is 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. 8 does not go into 21, 4 does not go into 21, and neither does 2. So 8 over 21 is in simplest form. So I'm going to say that 8 out of 21 students love soccer. And that is the meaning of the ratio that I just wrote. Okay. This last question here is just a brief understanding of how ratios work and do we understand what they mean. So this says a fruit salsa recipe calls for 2 cups of finely chopped pineapple and 4 cups of finely chopped strawberries. Isaiah only has 1 cup of pineapple. He reasons that because he subtracted 1 cup of pineapple, he needs to use 3 cups of strawberries. So a fruit recipe calls for 2 cups of finely chopped pineapple and 4 cups of finely chopped strawberries. So for my ratio, it's going to be pineapple and strawberries. And I've got 2 cups of pineapple and 4 cups of strawberries. Then it says he only has 1 cup of pineapple. So I want to know if I take away 1 cup of pineapple and only 1 cup of strawberries, does that make sense? In this particular case, no, because 2 over 4 is not the same as 1 over 3. 2 over 4 is the same as 1/2, so he actually needs only 2 cups of strawberries instead of 3 cups of strawberries. So with 3 cups of strawberries, he has too many strawberries for this recipe. Because the ratios are not equal. So that was just a little bit of problem solving and being able to think about ratios and how they are related to each other, and how we can use simplifying fractions and our knowledge of that to help us answer these questions. Today you are going to be completing an assignment on writing ratios and explaining their meaning, and applying them in some way like this last example. And we will go over work tomorrow.